The first days of Ramadan arrive with excitement. You make plans, set goals, and promise yourself this Ramadan will be different. But suddenly the days pass quickly. Cooking, cleaning, managing family, and adjusting sleep take over your routine. You keep saying you will focus on Qur'an tomorrow, pray longer tomorrow, and feel more spiritual tomorrow. Then you realize many days have already gone. A quiet worry enters your heart. Did Ramadan begin while you were busy with everything else? Islam does not ask for perfection, but it does ask for awareness. The beginning of Ramadan sets the tone for the entire month. Today we will understand why many women unintentionally lose the first part of Ramadan and how to protect your connection with Allah before time slips away. Stop waiting for the perfect start. Many sisters enter Ramadan with a sincere promise inside their hearts. You tell yourself this year you will finally pray with focus, read Quran daily, and feel closeness to Allah. Yet you are waiting for a calm morning, a quiet house, and a perfect schedule before you begin. I want you to understand something important. The perfect start rarely exists. Life continues exactly as it always has. Children still need you, meals still need preparing, and your responsibilities do not pause because Ramadan arrived. Shaitan does not stop you by making you refuse worship. He stops you by making you postpone it. You keep preparing instead of starting. Islam never asked you to become free from life in order to worship Allah. Rather, Allah wants you to remember Him within your life. Begin where you are, not where you wish you could be. I have met many women who say they will start Qur'an once they organize their homes. They want the kitchen clean, the laundry finished, and the routine stable. But homes are living spaces. They never reach complete stillness. By the time you feel ready, several days have already passed. Ramadan is a guest that does not wait for your preparations. The first days shape your habits, and habits shape the rest of your month. Even reading a few verses while sitting beside your child matters greatly. Allah looks at your effort, not your environment. If you delay until everything feels ideal, you will unintentionally train your heart to depend on comfort before obedience. Worship is meant to soften your life, not wait for life to become soft first. Sometimes the idea of doing a small act feels insignificant to you. You think, if I cannot read a full juz, I will read later when I have time. But Islam teaches us that consistent small actions are beloved to Allah. 2 pages every day are more powerful than a large amount you never begin. The heart needs continuity more than intensity. A short, sincere dua whispered while cooking may carry more weight than a long dua spoken only once. Waiting for the perfect moment causes the heart to remain distant. The connection to Allah grows gradually, not suddenly. Begin with what you can maintain. You are not building a performance, you are building a relationship with your Lord. Another reason women wait is emotional readiness. You want to feel spiritual before you act. You hope the motivation will come first and then worship will follow. In reality, it works the opposite way. Feelings follow actions. When you stand in prayer, even while distracted, your heart slowly settles. When you open the Qur'an, even while tired, calmness enters you. If you wait to feel inspired before you start, the inspiration may never come. Allah did not command us to feel first. He commanded us to act. Through action, faith grows. Your sincerity appears when you worship despite imperfect emotions. Perfectionism can quietly harm your worship. You worry your recitation is not beautiful, your concentration is weak, or your schedule is messy. Because of this, you delay beginning. Understand that Allah did not invite you to Ramadan to judge your skills. He invited you to return to Him. A broken recitation is still heard by Allah. A distracted prayer is still seen by Allah. Each attempt is beloved because it is yours. Shaitan wants you to believe worship must be flawless before it counts. Islam teaches that effort itself is valuable. Start even if you feel unprepared, because preparation often comes after you begin. I often remind sisters that Ramadan is not a project you complete. It is a journey you enter. You do not wait until you are a strong swimmer to step into water. You learn by entering slowly. The first day you may only manage a short prayer. The next day you add a few minutes of remembrance. Gradually your heart opens. If you remain outside waiting to feel ready, you never experience the transformation Ramadan offers. Allah opens doors gradually, not instantly. When you begin early, even with little, the month begins to shape you. Some women think starting small means they are not honoring Ramadan properly. They imagine that unless they are doing many acts, their worship is weak. In truth, small, sincere beginnings protect you from burnout. When you try to suddenly change everything in one night, you become exhausted and stop after a few days. Allah loves steadiness. The purpose is not to overwhelm yourself, but to remain connected every day. A stable routine of manageable worship is more powerful than dramatic effort followed by silence. The first days should establish rhythm, not pressure. You may also be comparing yourself to others. You hear someone finished many chapters of Qur'an and you feel behind before you even begin. This comparison pushes you to wait until you can do something equally impressive. But your Ramadan is not theirs. Your responsibilities, your health, and your capacity are known to Allah alone. You are not competing for recognition. You are seeking acceptance. The only comparison that matters is between your yesterday and your today. Did you turn to Allah more than before? That is success. Remember that Ramadan's barakah lies in starting early. The first days prepare the heart for the deeper nights ahead. If you spend them waiting, your heart enters the month slowly and struggles to catch up. But when you begin immediately, even with small acts, your heart awakens. You start noticing peace in ordinary moments. Your prayer becomes easier and your mind calmer. Allah places sweetness in early obedience. Delay deprives you of that sweetness. So I encourage you, do not wait for the perfect morning, perfect mood, or perfect routine. Open the Qur'an today, even for 5 minutes. Pray 2 extra rakah, even if you feel distracted. Make a simple dua while working. Begin imperfectly but sincerely. Ramadan does not ask you to transform overnight. It asks you to turn back repeatedly. When you take one step toward Allah, He opens doors you never expected. The blessing is not in how perfectly you start, but in the fact that you started at all. Don't turn Ramadan into only kitchen work. Many sisters experience Ramadan mostly through the kitchen door. From early afternoon, your mind is occupied with recipes, groceries, and preparing iftar. You move from cutting to cooking to cleaning, and before you realize it, Maghrib arrives. You sit to break your fast, physically tired and spiritually empty. I want you to pause and reflect. Ramadan did not come so you could present a table full of dishes. It came so your heart could return to Allah. Feeding your family is an act of reward, but when it consumes your entire day, the purpose becomes reversed. Worship becomes secondary, and exhaustion becomes the main memory of the month. Islam values balance. Your home should feel peaceful during Ramadan, not pressured. A simple meal that allows you time for dua before Maghrib is more blessed than many dishes that leave you rushed and distracted. Sometimes the pressure does not come from your family, but from expectations. You want everyone to feel happy, comfortable, and satisfied, so you overextend yourself. You prepare multiple foods, thinking this is part of honoring Ramadan. Yet the Prophet ﷺ lived with simplicity, especially in this month. Many days his iftar was dates and water. The beauty of Ramadan lies in presence, not variety. When cooking becomes excessive, your energy leaves you before worship even begins. You stand in prayer thinking about dishes waiting in the sink. Your body is in salah, but your mind is still in the kitchen. The heart cannot focus when it never had a moment of stillness. Reduce what is unnecessary so your mind can rest and your worship can breathe. Another subtle problem appears when the entire afternoon becomes preparation time. The hours before Maghrib are among the most accepted times for dua. Yet many women spend those moments rushing between stove and sink. You plan to sit and make supplication, but the food requires attention. By the time you finish, the adhan begins. You lost one of the most precious opportunities without intending to. I gently remind you that meals can be simplified, but that moment of dua cannot be replaced. Even 10 quiet minutes before sunset can change your heart. Protect that time intentionally. Your family benefits more from a mother who is spiritually calm than from a table that is overly full. You may feel guilty reducing cooking because you see it as serving your family. Service is noble, but Islam never asks you to neglect your soul while caring for others. If you give every ounce of your strength to food preparation, you arrive to prayer drained. Eventually, frustration replaces joy. Ramadan becomes physically heavy instead of spiritually light. When you choose simplicity, you are not neglecting your home. You are protecting your worship so you can lead your home with tranquility. Children remember your patience and peace more than the number of dishes you prepared. I often tell sisters to plan meals, not moments. Choose a few easy foods and repeat them through the week. There is no harm in simple iftar. Variety is not an obligation. When you reduce decision making, you free mental space. You will notice your anxiety decrease and your presence increase. Instead of worrying about what is missing from the table, you can think about what you will say to Allah in dua. Ramadan is a spiritual season, not a culinary challenge. The barakah lies in remembrance, not presentation. Another issue is standing in the kitchen until the last minute before adhan. You rush to set plates, serve drinks, and organize everything. Then you break your fast quickly and immediately clean again. Your first moments after fasting are supposed to be calm and grateful. Instead, they become hurried and distracted. Prepare earlier when possible. Sit down a few minutes before Maghrib. Hold a date in your hand and raise your palms in dua. Those seconds are precious. When you taste the peace of that moment, you will understand why it matters more than extra food. It is also important to involve the family. Many women carry the entire responsibility alone. Ramadan is a shared month, not an individual burden. Let others help with setting the table or cleaning. When your household participates, they learn that Ramadan is about worship together, not being served by one exhausted person. Teaching your family to value your worship time is part of nurturing their faith. They begin to respect the sacredness of those hours. Sometimes cooking becomes a distraction from spiritual discomfort. When the heart feels distant, staying busy feels easier than sitting quietly with Allah. But Ramadan invites reflection. Allow yourself moments away from activity. Even a few minutes of dhikr while waiting for food to cook can transform your heart. The kitchen does not have to remove you from worship. You can recite, remember Allah, and make dua while working. Shift your intention and your actions become acts of worship instead of barriers. You may worry that a simpler table will disappoint others. Often this fear is greater than reality. Families adjust quickly when they understand your intention. Explain gently that you want more time for worship. Most will support you, and even if someone complains, remember who you are trying to please. Allah sees your effort and sacrifice. The peace you gain will outweigh temporary dissatisfaction. Ramadan is not meant to leave you exhausted by the 10th day. It is meant to soften you gradually until the last nights arrive. When you reduce kitchen overload, you preserve your energy for prayer, Qur'an, and reflection. A balanced routine allows your heart to participate fully. Feed your family with love, but feed your soul with remembrance. When you find that balance, the month changes from a schedule of tasks into a season of closeness to Allah. Stop comparing your worship to others. Many sisters quietly carry a heavy feeling during Ramadan. You hear someone completed several parts of the Qur'an, another prays long night prayers, and another wakes daily for extra worship. Immediately your heart begins to measure itself. You look at your own routine and feel it is small. Comparison turns a month of mercy into a month of pressure. I want you to remember that Allah never asked you to observe other people's worship. He asked you to observe your own heart. Each life carries different responsibilities, health and emotional capacity. A mother caring for children, a daughter caring for parents, and a woman working outside the home all live different realities. Allah does not compare them. He looks at sincerity and effort. When you compare, you stop noticing your own progress and start feeling defeated before you even continue. Comparison also steals sincerity in a subtle way. Instead of asking whether Allah is pleased with you, you ask whether you are equal to someone else. Worship becomes a number rather than a connection. You may increase acts not because your heart longs for Allah, but because you feel behind others. Outwardly, this looks like effort, but inwardly it becomes anxiety. The beauty of Ramadan is personal closeness. When the intention shifts toward competing, the sweetness disappears. A small act done purely for Allah carries peace. A large act done to keep up with others often carries tension. Protect your intention carefully. Allah accepts what is done for Him alone, even if it seems little to people. Social media increases this struggle. You see posts of long recitations, organized schedules, and nightly prayers. It appears everyone else is spiritually thriving while you are struggling to stay consistent. Remember that you are witnessing moments, not entire lives. No one shows their fatigue, distraction, or difficulty concentrating. You compare your full reality with someone else's highlighted moment. This is unfair to your own heart. Ramadan is not lived on a screen, it is lived in your private moments with Allah. Close the comparison and open your personal connection. The sincerity you build in private outweighs what is displayed publicly. Another harm of comparison is discouragement. Some sisters stop trying because they believe they can never reach the level they see in others. They think, what is the value of my few pages of Qur'an when others read so much? This thought comes from shaitan. Allah loves consistent effort, regardless of quantity. A small daily recitation can transform your heart over time. Islam values perseverance more than sudden intensity. Do not abandon your acts because they appear modest. They may be the very deeds that carry you to Allah's mercy. You also do not see the struggles others carry. Someone who prays long at night may have no children to care for. Another who reads extensively may have different responsibilities than you. Your path is unique. Allah placed you exactly where you are and gave you the capacity. He knows you can maintain. When you accept your reality, you begin to worship peacefully. Acceptance is not weakness, it is understanding divine wisdom. Your situation is not an obstacle to worship. It is the place where your worship lives. Comparison sometimes leads to pride as well. When you feel you are doing more than someone else, the ego quietly grows. Pride damages the heart more than weakness. Ramadan teaches humility, not superiority. You never know which action Allah accepts most. A short prayer with tears may outweigh long prayers without presence. Always remember you are a servant, not a judge of others. Focus on improving yourself, not measuring others. The purpose of Ramadan is transformation, and transformation is gradual. Look at yourself from the first day to today. Are you more patient? Are you remembering Allah more often? Are you quicker to seek forgiveness? These changes matter deeply. Growth is measured over time, not across people. When you track your own improvement, motivation increases. When you compare to others, motivation weakens. Choose the path that strengthens your heart. I encourage you to make a private plan suited to your life. Even a simple routine, short Quran recitation, consistent prayers, and daily supplication can build strong faith. The stability of your routine matters more than its size. When you maintain manageable acts, you carry them beyond Ramadan. The goal is not temporary intensity, but lasting closeness to Allah. Protect your heart by making your worship hidden as much as possible. The less you expose it to comparison, the more peaceful it becomes. Speak to Allah about your struggles honestly. Tell Him you want to do more but feel limited. This sincerity opens doors. Allah responds to humble hearts more than impressive schedules. Finally, remember that Allah's mercy is not distributed according to human standards. He accepts who turns to Him sincerely, regardless of how their worship appears. Do not let other people's actions distract you from your own journey. Ramadan is a personal invitation from Allah to you. Walk toward Him with steadiness and humility. Your acceptance is not determined by how you compare, but by how sincerely you return. Don't ignore your sleep completely. Many sisters enter Ramadan with strong determination and immediately reduce their sleep. You stay awake late cooking, wake early for suhoor, and try to pray long night prayers every day. After a few days, your body begins to protest. You feel headaches, irritation, and difficulty focusing in salah. Instead of feeling spiritually uplifted, you feel physically drained. Islam does not ask you to harm yourself in order to worship Allah. Your body is an amana entrusted to you. When you deprive yourself of rest completely, your concentration disappears and your patience weakens. You may still be performing the actions outwardly, but inwardly your heart struggles to be present. Worship requires awareness, and awareness requires a rested mind. Balance is part of obedience. Protecting your sleep is not laziness. It is preparing yourself to worship Allah with clarity and calmness. Some women believe that sleeping during Ramadan reduces reward, so they force themselves to remain awake as much as possible. They think exhaustion is proof of sincerity. Yet sincerity is not measured by how tired you are. The Prophet ﷺ taught moderation in all acts of worship. He prayed at night, but he also rested. If the best of creation balanced his night and day, then we should follow his example. Continuous exhaustion weakens your ability to recite Qur'an with reflection. You read words, but your mind cannot absorb meaning. When your body receives sufficient rest, your heart becomes attentive and your worship becomes alive instead of mechanical. Sleep deprivation also affects your character. You may notice increased impatience with children or family members. Small issues begin to feel overwhelming. You intend to be gentle in Ramadan, but fatigue makes you react sharply. Ramadan came to soften the heart, not harden behavior. When you sleep properly, you gain emotional stability. You respond with kindness and tolerance. This itself is a great form of worship. Controlling anger and showing mercy to others may carry greater reward than long voluntary prayers done while exhausted. Rest strengthens your ability to live the manners Ramadan teaches. Another problem appears in the middle of the month. Many sisters start Ramadan energetically, but collapse by the second week. Because sleep was neglected early, the body cannot sustain the routine. Night prayer stops, Qur'an decreases, and motivation fades. Sustainable worship is more beloved than intense effort that ends quickly. Think of Ramadan as a long journey. You pace yourself so you can reach the last 10 nights with strength. Proper sleep allows you to remain consistent until the end. Without it, you burn out before the most precious nights even arrive. I encourage you to create a simple sleep plan. Even a short nap during the day can restore energy. The midday rest is not wasted time. It refreshes your mind and prepares you for evening worship. Many early Muslims valued this rest because it supported night prayer. When you wake from a short nap, you notice your recitation becomes clearer and your dua more focused. You begin to feel present instead of struggling to stay awake. Small adjustments can transform your experience of the entire month. You may feel guilty resting while others remain active. Remember, Allah looks at quality, not quantity. A focused prayer after rest may carry more reward than a long prayer performed while barely conscious. When you stand in salah with alertness, you understand what you are reciting. Tears may come more easily and your heart responds. This presence is the purpose of worship. Protect the conditions that allow it. Sleep is one of those conditions. Your body also needs proper nourishment and hydration. Without rest, your physical strength weakens and you become prone to illness. Becoming sick in Ramadan prevents you from worship entirely. Islam encourages prevention, not self-harm. Taking care of your health allows you to continue your acts of worship steadily. This is wisdom, not weakness. Allah loves balanced servants who maintain their responsibilities without harming themselves. Another benefit of adequate sleep is mental calmness. When rested, you can sit quietly and reflect on your day. You remember Allah more naturally. When exhausted, your mind becomes scattered and distracted. You may intend to read Qur'an but find yourself unable to concentrate. Protecting your sleep protects your spiritual focus. It is part of guarding your heart from unnecessary stress. Involve your family in supporting your rest. Share responsibilities so you are not carrying everything alone. Ramadan is a shared experience. When others help with chores or preparation, you gain time to rest and worship. Teaching your family the importance of your worship time is also nurturing their understanding of the month. They learn that Ramadan is not only about meals, but about devotion. Remember, Allah who did not make this month a burden. He made it a mercy. Mercy brings ease, not harm. If your routine leaves you constantly exhausted, adjust it. Sleep with intention, wake with intention, and worship with intention. When you respect your body's limits, your heart opens more easily. Balanced rest allows you to stand before Allah with attentiveness, humility, and peace. Stop delaying Qur'an until later days. Many sisters begin Ramadan telling themselves they will dedicate real Qur'an time later. The first days feel busy, unfamiliar, and full of adjustments. You think once your routine settles, you will start properly. But Ramadan never slows down for preparation. The days pass quickly and you suddenly realize a large portion of the month is gone. The Qur'an was revealed in Ramadan not as an afterthought, but as its center. When you postpone opening it, you unintentionally distance yourself from the heart of the month. Even a few verses daily create attachment. Waiting for a calmer day often leads to waiting for a day that never comes. Begin immediately, even if your recitation is short and interrupted. Allah values the first step more than the delayed plan. Many women imagine they must read a full portion each day to make it meaningful. If they cannot manage that, they delay starting entirely. This thinking places a heavy barrier before you begin. The Quran is guidance, not a task list. 2 lines read with reflection can change your heart more than many pages read quickly. When you open it early in Ramadan, your heart softens gradually. But when you postpone, the heart remains distracted by daily responsibilities. Start with what is easy for you. Consistency builds love, and love increases effort naturally. The connection grows step by step, not in a single sudden commitment. You may also feel emotionally unprepared. Some sisters say they want to feel calm, focused, and spiritually ready before reciting. They hope to reach a peaceful state first and then begin. In reality, the Qur'an is what brings that state. The calmness you are waiting for comes through reading, not before it. Allah did not command perfect feelings before obedience. He commanded obedience to heal the heart. Even if your mind wanders, continue reading. Over time, the words settle inside you and quiet your thoughts. The Qur'an is medicine, and medicine works when taken, not when postponed. Sometimes daily responsibilities make you think there is no time. Cooking, children, and household needs fill your schedule. Yet time does not suddenly appear later in Ramadan. The secret is not finding free time, but creating a fixed moment. Even 10 minutes after Fajr or before sleep can become sacred. When you protect that small window daily, it grows into a habit. The heart learns to expect that meeting with Allah. Without a set time, recitation is always delayed by something else. Prioritizing a small, consistent slot changes your entire relationship with the Qur'an. The first days of Ramadan are especially important because they set your pattern. When you begin reciting immediately, the rest of the month follows naturally. But if you delay, your heart becomes comfortable without it. Habits form quickly. What you do in the first week often continues. That is why starting early matters even if the amount is little. You are training your soul to welcome the Qur'an daily. Later efforts become easier because the habit already exists. Early neglect becomes harder to correct as days pass. Another reason for delay is fear of inconsistency. You worry you will begin enthusiastically and then stop, so you hesitate to start. Yet avoiding action does not protect you from inconsistency, it guarantees it. Beginning imperfectly is better than never beginning. Even if you miss a day, return the next day without guilt. Allah loves those who come back repeatedly. The relationship with the Qur'an is not broken by small interruptions, but by complete abandonment. Keep returning and the connection strengthens. Some sisters wait for the last 10 nights, believing they will dedicate themselves fully then. Those nights are precious, but they require preparation. If your heart has not been nourished earlier, it struggles to focus in the final days. Early recitation softens the heart and prepares it to receive the blessings of Laylatul Qadr. Think of the first days as warming your heart. When you reach the last nights already attached to the Qur'an, your worship becomes deeper and more present. You may also underestimate how the Qur'an affects your daily behavior. When you read even briefly each day, patience increases, your reactions soften and your worries decrease. Without it, the fast may feel heavy and stressful. The Qur'an supports your fasting, giving it meaning. It reminds you why you are abstaining and strengthens your intention. Delaying it makes the fast feel physical only. Beginning early makes the fast spiritual as well. Sometimes the delay comes from distraction rather than busyness. After iftar, you feel tired and reach for your phone to relax. Minutes become hours and the night ends without recitation. It is not lack of time, but lack of intention. When you intentionally replace some screen time with Qur'an, you discover time existed all along. Protecting even a short recitation before sleep can transform your night. You sleep calmer and wake more motivated. Another concern is difficulty in reading. Some sisters feel their recitation is slow or imperfect, so they postpone. Remember, Allah rewards effort and struggle. The one who reads with difficulty receives double reward because of perseverance. Your mistakes do not distance you from Allah, they bring you closer when you continue. Avoiding recitation removes that blessing entirely. Approach the Qur'an with humility, not fear. Allah hears your attempt, not only your accuracy. The Qur'an is also a companion in Ramadan. When you read daily, you begin to think about its meanings during your day. A verse may return to your mind while working or resting. It shapes your thoughts gently. If you delay recitation, you miss this companionship. Ramadan becomes a schedule of tasks rather than a living experience. Early reading invites the Qur'an into your daily awareness. I encourage you to connect recitation to an existing routine. After prayer is often the easiest moment. You already paused your day and your heart is calmer. Adding even a few verses there anchors the habit. Linking it to a regular activity makes it sustainable. The goal is not to read once intensely, but to read consistently. The Qur'an transforms through repetition. You may feel behind when others mention how much they have read. Do not let this discourage you. Begin wherever you are. Allah does not ask why you started late. He welcomes you when you start. Every verse still carries guidance and mercy. Focus on continuing rather than counting what was missed. A sincere continuation can change the remainder of your month completely. Remember that the Qur'an itself is a form of mercy in Ramadan. It is Allah speaking to you personally. When you open it, you are responding to His invitation. Delaying it is like postponing a meeting with someone you love. Begin the meeting early, even briefly. Let its words accompany you from the first days onward. So start today. Open the Qur'an, even if only for a few minutes. Read slowly and reflect on a single meaning. Ask Allah to open your heart through His words. Do not wait for more time, more energy, or a better mood. The blessing lies in beginning now. When you give the Qur'an a place in the first days, it will illuminate the rest of your Ramadan. Don't let social media consume your evening. After iftar, many sisters finally feel a moment of relief. The fasting hours have ended, the family is settled, and you reach for your phone intending only a short rest. What begins as a few minutes easily stretches much longer. Messages, videos, and posts fill the quiet evening. Before you realize it, the night prayer approaches and your heart feels scattered. Ramadan nights were meant to calm the soul, yet constant scrolling fills the mind with noise. Social media itself is not forbidden, but unguarded use steals attention. These evenings are among the most spiritually open times of the day. When they pass in distraction, the heart loses an opportunity it cannot recover later. The night hours in Ramadan carry a special serenity. After the day's effort, the heart becomes softer and more receptive. Dua at this time reaches Allah with sincerity. Yet screens quickly pull your thoughts away. You compare lives, read conversations, and absorb information that leaves you mentally busy. When you stand in prayer afterward, your mind continues replaying what you saw. The body is present, but the mind remains elsewhere. Worship requires presence, and presence requires quiet. Protecting your evening from excessive digital stimulation helps your prayer become attentive and meaningful. Many women tell themselves they are simply relaxing. They believe they deserve mental rest after the day's responsibilities. True rest, however, is not always passive consumption. Endless scrolling often leaves you more tired and restless than before. You finish feeling heavy instead of refreshed. A few minutes of remembrance, reflection, or silent sitting often brings deeper peace. Your heart was created to remember Allah. When it does, it finds calmness. When it is overloaded with constant images and opinions, it feels unsettled. Choosing intentional quietness restores your emotional balance. Another effect of social media is comparison. During Ramadan, you may see others sharing worship routines, recitations, or gatherings. Instead of motivating, this sometimes produces discouragement or pressure. You begin to think your Ramadan is less meaningful. These thoughts disturb your intention. Worship becomes about appearance rather than sincerity. Ramadan is a private relationship between you and Allah. The more it is exposed to comparison, the more its sweetness decreases. Protecting your evenings from constant viewing protects your sincerity as well. Your evenings also influence your nights. When the mind is overstimulated before prayer, concentration becomes difficult. You may struggle to follow recitation or feel restless standing in salah. Even when you try to focus, thoughts return to what you recently watched. The brain needs calmness to settle. If you reduce screen time before night prayer, you will notice greater tranquility. The heart engages more easily and the recitation feels clearer. Small changes in habit create large differences in presence. Social media can also quietly consume the time intended for Qur'an. After iftar, you think you will read soon, but notifications keep appearing. You answer one message and then another. The minutes disappear. Eventually, fatigue arrives and you postpone recitation until the next day. Consistency breaks, not because you lacked intention, but because your attention was divided. Setting a boundary around your phone preserves the space you promised for worship. Intention requires protection, otherwise it fades under constant distraction. Consider creating a simple rule for yourself. Choose a specific period after Maghrib where the phone is placed away. Inform family and friends that you will respond later. This small boundary gives your heart permission to disconnect. You will discover how much time actually exists when distractions are removed. The evening suddenly feels spacious. You can sit with the Qur'an, speak to Allah in dua, or simply breathe and reflect. The peace you experience will encourage you to continue this habit. Another helpful practice is replacing passive scrolling with purposeful listening. If you wish to use technology, choose beneficial content such as Qur'an recitation or a reminder that draws you closer to Allah. The same device can distract or guide depending on intention. Instead of letting it control your attention, use it intentionally. When the heart hears words of remembrance, it softens instead of scattering. Your family also benefits when you limit evening distractions. Conversations become warmer and more present. Children notice your attention and feel valued. Ramadan becomes a shared spiritual atmosphere rather than individuals sitting silently with separate screens. Homes carry barakah when hearts are connected. Reducing digital interruption restores that connection. You may worry about missing messages or updates. In truth, most matters can wait. Urgent needs will reach you through other means. The fear of missing out often keeps us attached unnecessarily. Trust that stepping away for a short period will not harm your responsibilities. Instead, it will strengthen your inner state. When your heart is calm, you handle responsibilities better afterward. Even your sleep improves when you limit screen exposure at night. Continuous viewing keeps the mind active and delays rest. When you sleep with a busy mind, you wake tired for suhoor and morning prayer. Protecting your evening quiet prepares you for a more peaceful night and a more attentive morning. Your worship throughout the day becomes easier. Another important reflection is intention. Ask yourself why you are reaching for the phone. Sometimes it is habit rather than need. Awareness breaks the habit. When you pause and choose remembrance instead, you reclaim control of your time. Ramadan trains discipline, and discipline grows through small conscious decisions repeated daily. The nights of Ramadan are limited and precious. Once they pass, they do not return until another year. Imagine meeting Allah and remembering how many evenings were spent distracted. This thought is not to cause guilt, but to create awareness. Use it as motivation to guard these moments. The reward for protecting them is lasting tranquility. Begin gradually. Do not remove everything at once if it feels overwhelming. Shorten your usage step by step. Replace 10 minutes of scrolling with 10 minutes of Qur'an. Increase slowly. Consistency matters more than sudden change. As your heart experiences the sweetness of quiet worship, reducing distractions becomes easier. Remember that social media is a tool, not a master. You decide how it serves you. Let it assist your life rather than consume your most valuable hours. Ramadan nights are invitations from Allah for closeness. When you accept that invitation with presence, your heart feels nourished. Guard your evenings carefully and you will find a peace that no screen can provide. Stop carrying guilt instead of action. Many sisters reach the middle of Ramadan feeling a quiet heaviness. You remember the goals you set and notice you did not follow them perfectly. Immediately, guilt enters your heart. You think you already wasted precious days, so you feel discouraged to continue. I want you to understand that guilt alone does not bring you closer to Allah. Guilt is only useful when it pushes you to act. When it keeps you frozen, it becomes a trick of shaitan. Allah did not open Ramadan so you could judge yourself harshly. He opened it so you could return to Him repeatedly. The door remains open every single day. Even if you stumbled yesterday, today is a new invitation. Shaitan loves to change the meaning of mistakes. Instead of seeing them as a reason to come back, he makes you see them as proof you are unworthy. You begin to think your worship no longer matters because you already fell short. This thought is dangerous because it stops effort completely. Allah never asked you to be flawless. He asked you to turn back. The believer is not the one who never slips, but the one who returns quickly. Every sincere return erases distance. The problem is not the missed act. The problem is refusing to restart. Some women spend many days regretting what passed instead of benefiting from what remains. You think about the early mornings you missed or the Qur'an you delayed. Your mind stays in the past while Ramadan continues moving forward. Reflection is healthy, but dwelling without action steals opportunity. Allah gave you the present moment because He still wants you to approach Him. The most beloved action right now is simply beginning again. 2 units of prayer today carry more value than long regret about yesterday. You may also feel embarrassed before Allah. You intended to do more and now you feel ashamed to raise your hands in dua. Remember that Allah loves when His servant calls Him after falling short. Your honesty and humility bring you closer than imagined perfection. Speak to Him openly. Tell Him you struggled, you delayed, and you want to return. Allah responds to sincerity, not to flawless performance. The heart softens when it stops hiding and starts turning. Another mistake is waiting for motivation before acting again. You think you must feel spiritually strong first? Yet action itself rebuilds motivation. When you stand for prayer despite low energy, your heart slowly wakes. When you read a few verses despite distraction, clarity begins. Faith grows through practice, not through waiting. Start with a small deed immediately. Movement heals hesitation. Guilt sometimes makes you compare your current effort with your original plan. Because you cannot achieve the entire plan now, you do nothing. This all or nothing thinking harms spiritual growth. Allah values what you can do today, not what you planned weeks ago. Adjust your goals gently. Even a few minutes of remembrance can reopen the path. The door to Allah does not require perfection to enter. Many sisters forget the meaning of repentance. Repentance is not only feeling sorry, it is turning toward Allah with action. After seeking forgiveness, do a good deed. Pray, give charity, or read Qur'an. Good actions wash away the heaviness of guilt. Islam always pairs repentance with effort, because effort restores hope. Without action, guilt becomes weight rather than healing. Sometimes guilt leads to sadness that drains your energy. You feel emotionally tired and spiritually distant. Instead of worship feeling hopeful, it feels burdensome. This is not the spirit of Ramadan. Ramadan is a month of mercy. Mercy invites you gently. Approach Allah with hope, not despair. Hope energizes the heart and brings consistency. You may think you disappointed Allah. Remember that Allah knows human nature. He created your weaknesses and still invited you to this month. He expected you to struggle and still opened the door. Your return is beloved to Him. When you turn back sincerely, you are fulfilling the very purpose of Ramadan. Focus on the present day. Ask yourself what small action you can protect today. Maybe it is a short recitation, a sincere dua, or 2 extra rakah. Protect that act daily. Consistency rebuilds confidence. As confidence grows, guilt fades naturally. Action heals what regret alone cannot. It is also helpful to avoid harsh self-talk. Some sisters constantly criticize themselves internally. This discourages effort. Replace harshness with accountability and mercy. Hold yourself responsible, but speak to yourself with hope. Allah is gentle with you. Be gentle with your heart as well. Another powerful step is serving others with intention. Helping your family, offering kindness, or giving charity transforms guilt into positive energy. Good deeds remind you that Allah still uses you for goodness. You realize you are not cut off from His mercy. Remember that the last part of Ramadan is often the most transformative. Many people begin weak but finish strong. Do not assume your early days define your entire month. What matters is how you continue. The remaining nights may carry the moment that changes your heart. Each time you feel regret, turn it immediately into a deed. Instead of thinking about missed opportunities, create a new one. Pray a short prayer, whisper a supplication, or recite a verse. Action replaces heaviness with relief. The heart feels lighter because it is moving again. So do not carry guilt as a burden you walk with. Carry it as a reminder that guides you back. Allah is not waiting to reject you. He is waiting for you to return. Begin today without delay. The mercy of Ramadan is still present, and every sincere step toward Allah is welcomed. Ramadan is not lost because you were busy. It is lost only when you stop turning back. Allah opens this month as a mercy, not a test you must perform perfectly. You still have time to rebuild your intention, simplify your routine, and reconnect your heart. Begin with small, sincere actions and protect them daily. What matters is not how you started, but how you continue. The one who invited you to Ramadan is always ready to accept your effort. Turn to him now and let the remaining days become the ones that change your heart.